How's it going, everybody? Mr. Charco here, and today we're going to be going over the Empoleon Emperors, coached by Destroyer of Doom, and we're going to be going over his team. He has yet to play in his week one, but he does match up against the Eternal Ice-Q, I'm not exactly sure how to say it, and he's got a pretty solid team. We're going to go over to the draft planner layout so we can kind of look at it in a different aspect. And basically, we're going to go over just how we have every other team, right? So first thing we always look at is obviously the speed tiers. And I will say that he doesn't really have any Pokemon in the 71 to 90 tier. And he also doesn't have any Pokemon in the less than 30 tier. That can be a little alarming because me just starting out, if I'm game playing against his team, I'm going to probably want to bring a Trick Room. Because looking at he's got two pretty threatening fast mons in Mega Alakazam and also in Scolipede, who has a speed boost as well. So both of those can be very, very fast, but they're also rather frail. So that's the big thing I think that I can just see right off the gate. Now, obviously, Pokemon like Celesteela, Incineroar, and Empoleon, they all are fully capable of operating in a Trick Room, but they're not going to likely outspeed if you have a slower team that's got less than 30 speed tier. So I would maybe like to see him get something with a lower speed tier than that. That's just from starting out though. But we'll go through his team and figure out exactly what we got going on here. So next, as I look at, he hits all his boxes pretty good with the important moves. Let's see. I'm not real sure. I'm pretty sure Archeops gets Tailwind. I don't think Empoleon does, but he does have Sticky Webs with Ariados, which I don't know how often it'll actually bring Ariados, but it does give him Toxic Spikes as well as Sticky Webs, but a 40 base speed and not the best special defense in the world is kind of alarming. But other than that, like I said, he's got two solid Stealth Rockers. Archeops is actually really solid until obviously it gets hurt. But 140 base attack, 112 base special attack, and 110 speed. This Pokemon's can hit really hard. So that's definitely interesting. So yeah, he's got Hazard Control. He's got two really good Defoggers and Empoleon, and then Savali can obviously go to whatever typing he feels he needs to. So that's obviously very good. I notice he doesn't have an electric or a ghost type, but Savali can fill both of those roles, obviously. And Savali is actually a really good pick on for his team because it gives him a lot of versatility, and it gives him arguably the best defogger in the game because depending on the Pokemon for the week, you can change typing. He does have Heal Bell access or Aromatherapy, one of the two, with Alcremie here. Pretty solid fairy, 110 special attack, 121 special defense, so it is more of a bulky on the special side. Obviously, it does only have 64 speed, so it's kind of in that mid-tier speed where it's not too great, not too whatever. So once again, he's got nice, solid mons. I just feel like he's got too many in this one speed tier. So if somebody's playing against him, you can simply game plan to outbulk Scolipede and Alakazam as long as they're not set up, and then basically you can outspeed this. Now, obviously, this Pokemon's pretty powerful and pretty threatening, but 4 times weakness to ice is very common, which is arguably the most easy 4 times weakness to overcome. But yeah, definitely threatening in that aspect. But this has Dragon Dance. I know Alakazam has Calm Mind. I think it even has a Nasty Plot now, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong though. Celesteela is just a tank, and it hits very hard. Beast Boost. So I mean, it's very threatening. You don't really need to outspeed a lot of things with Celesteela. But like I said, he does have the Sticky Web option, but I would like to see him get some form of better speed control because I feel like that's what's going to ultimately hurt him in some matchups is, say he brings all his fast mons, well, if I bring my slow, bulky mons and have Trick Room, I'm going to win. Unless something crazy happens. And like I said, he does have pretty good speed mons as Scolipede come in with Protect and Swords Dance, and basically you're guaranteed to outspeed your opponent after 2 turns, which is really good, so you could run even Sash and Sword Dance and guarantee you get a Sword Dance up as long as there's no weather or anything like that, so that's cool. And he has plenty of priority on his team, as you can see down here, with Empoleon, Incineroar, Zygarde, Chestnut, Archeops, and Ariados. So we'll go down to his weaknesses. He does have 4 weaknesses to Rock, 4 weaknesses to Fire, which isn't the worst in the world because he can combat that with Water types. Let's see. And he does have Empoleon as a pretty good water type, but it doesn't necessarily 4 times resist those. Let's see what else resists. So this obviously resists fire pretty good. 4 times. So Zygarde is a good answer to fire. Pretty decent answer to rock. And yeah, and obviously he can bring Savali, so that's not bad. He doesn't really have a whole lot of terrible weaknesses. He only has 2 Pokemon with ×4 weakness, which is completely fine for draft. I think any 2 is fine. And they're both pretty powerful mons. I personally am not a big fan of Chestnut, but I've never really used it, so I can't like try to be biased or anything like that. I just personally just don't like the way it looks, and I don't like the fighting grass typing just personally. But that's not saying it's not good. I just personally don't like it. Other than that, though, his weaknesses are pretty well spread out. He's got a decent amount of resistances. He does resist grass a lot, and he does resist poison a lot. So he's got pretty good in that sense. He doesn't have a flying immunity, and not immunity. I'm sorry. He does have 2 ground immunities, so he's been pretty good in that aspect. So overall, I feel like his typing's choice was pretty good. Like I said, he is missing electric and ghost, but he's able to fill that role with Savali if he so chooses, which is good. I do think, however, that he does need to really work on the speed tiers, and with he doesn't have to get a Trick Room Mon, but just get some Mons that can work on a Trick Room, or at least some Mons that can speed up your other Mons, because really, the Pokemon that can increase their speed, like Scolipede, Zygarde, and whoever else can, they don't really do it for everyone else. Obviously, Archeops can set up a Tailwind, but with Archeops, you typically want to use it as like a Scarf or something that just hits really, really hard. Because as soon as you take damage with Archeops, it basically is terrible. So, once you get under half health. But other than that, he's got some very nice pivots. I know Savali gets Parting Shot. I know Incineroar gets a U-turn and Parting Shot. I'm pretty sure that... I know Scolipede gets U-turn. I don't know if Chestnut does, but I'm pretty sure it probably does. Obviously, Gyarados does. Archeops, I believe, gets U-turn as well. So he's got a lot of Pokemon that can pivot into other things. So that's obviously very good because he can get that momentum going. Besides Celesteela here, with the base, 103 defense, 101 special defense. Obviously that's his tank and just hard hitter in general. This can be a tank, but obviously it's the ice weakness. Incineroar's a pretty good wall. If you're running a bulky one, you can run a bulky Savali. So he's got very solid. He doesn't have like just straight up walls, but he has some walls that can do some damage. And so like I said, his issue is really only the speed stuff. And if he feels like that's not an issue for him, then that's fine. But I just feel like his best chances of sweeping are with a Scolipede, with Zygarde, Alakazam, and Celesteela. And all of those Pokemon can be outsped on a Trick Room. So that's definitely an issue to look at. But other than that, he does a pretty good job on all his typings, like I said. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. He maybe could patch up the fire weakness a little bit. But in all actuality, he will not bring Gyarados, Chestnut, Scolipede, and Celesteela all in one given matchup. So I don't really think he needs to worry about the typings too much. Yeah, so I don't know how much points he has with all these, but I do feel like he's got a pretty good team because, you got Celesteela who can have your Beast Boost. It's a good sweeper. It's a good min Pokemon. You can even lead with it to immediately pressure something out. You got Mega Alakazam that can trace any Pokemon, whether it has Sand Rush, whether it has Swift Swim, whatever. Trace is one of the best abilities in the game. So that's really good. And like I said, 175 special attack, 150 speed. That's faster than most Mons that have those abilities. So basically, you bring an Alakazam on a Excadrill or a Kingdra or whatever, and you're going to outspeed it, and you're going to hit it probably harder. So that's very cool. Zygarde is one of the best setup Mons in the format. 600 base stats. It's with its worst stat being special attack, but it's still good at 81. And it's a very well-rounded Pokemon. It can do everything. Dragon Ground is a very good offensive typing. Obviously not the best defensive typing in the world, but there's been so many Pokemon in the format that have had so much success with that typing, Garchomp being the other one. Next we have Incineroar, which is one of the most well-rounded Intimidate Pokemon in Pokemon. And Dark Fire typing is very good. It can switch into to Psychic types, and then it can pressure whatever out. It can U-turn. It can Parting Shot. Very good Pokemon. Savali's versatility is unmatched. Clearly, it's basically just a poor man's Arceus, but it's still a good poor man's Arceus. And at 95 everything, you can literally make this Pokemon your own and EV it or IV it, whatever you want to do, however the heck you want. And you can never actually prep for a Savali. You can only try to guess what the Savali is going to be. Then we have Alcremie or Alcremie. Like I said, it's a very slept-on fairy. I think what sets it apart is that it's kind of at that bad speed tier where it's at 64, where it's not quite fast enough, but it's capable of being there. So I definitely feel like Alcremie can be good. It is his only heal bell. I would like to see him get a wish option. So that's maybe another thing, because certain Pokemon like Savali and Cineroar and even Celesteela could really, really benefit from a good wish passer, and even Empoleon too. So yeah, because he's got some pretty good bulk. Empoleon is one of my favorite. Defiant is a good ability, and then Torrent is not bad either, obviously, because your Empoleon is going to be taking a lot of hits, and if you can get some Torrent activated Scalds off, that's doing a lot of damage. But Defiant obviously is great to stop Intimidators. A lot of Intimidators in the format are fire types, or types that, you know, don't appreciate a Water Steel typing, and Water Steel typing is one of the coolest typings in the format. Once again, a Pokemon that's got well-rounded stats, and its worst stat being its speed, being at that mid-speed tier. So once again, you know, kind of a pattern here, but like I said, every team's going to have some weakness, and I think he did good on everything but with his speed tiers. And a lot of people don't realize, you know, the speed tiers, and it's so hard to keep that in mind, because there's a Mon you think, ooh, that fits perfect for my team. But like I said, I'm going through each one of these Mons, and they all have really good roles. And as of all the teams I've seen so far, he's got the best potential for really good momentum with U-turn or whatever else. Scolipede here is one of my favorite Mons. I almost got Scolipede because it had a lot of things that I wanted, and with Speed Boost being one of the best abilities ever, like I said, you can run it with a sash, and you can basically make sure that you're going to get off a sword stance, and then before you know it, you have a +2 attack and then +2 speed boosted Scolipede. And check into that. Like, it's got good coverage moves, 100 base attack, 112 base speed, and obviously the defense, the special defense isn't the best in the world. The defense is solid at 89, but this Pokemon is not made for bulk. It's made for hitting hard, and if he wants to, he could just run a simple Poison Point or Swarm set with the and basically just be a Spikes or a Toxic Spike setup Pokemon. So very good in that aspect. Like I said, I've never really used Chestnut that much. Obviously, it's got great defense. It's got really good attack, decent HP, and then special defense is not bad either at 75. Just the thing, obviously, with this is you're worrying about flying types. So I feel like it kind of forces him to always, if he's bringing Chestnut, he has to always either run the berry that eliminates the flying damage, or he has to do something like that. But up to this point, though, like, he's gotten everything here. I just feel like his last two picks, I don't mind the Archeops pick, especially as a lead with Scarf or something like that, because like I said, it hits so hard for whatever. This is probably a lower tier Mon, because Defeatist is one of the worst abilities. But as long as you can keep this Pokemon healthy and not taking hits, it can have some viability, and it's actually a fun Mon to use. I mean, it's just like spazzing out. It's crazy. And then finally, we got Gyarados, which I think was really just a value pick for him. None of its stats are really great. Attack at 90, but for what it has, Sticky Web, Toxic Spikes, things of that nature, this Pokemon is just a value pick. It's going to basically come up, set up Sticky Webs if he wants it, set up Toxic Spikes if he wants. Probably a Sash because it's not living a whole lot of hits. And at 400 base stats, it's not going to do a whole much. But it can function on a Trick Room, as it is the slowest Pokemon on his team. So, yes. So overall, not a bad team at all. I think I give it a B, just because the speed tiers could be so much better. But that's such an easy fix, man. Just get rid of your whatever Mon you feel doesn't fit here. Obviously, you don't really necessarily need to be in the 71 and 90 tier unless you really want to, because let's see, because this is at 110, this one's at 64, 112, 60, 64, 95, 60, 95, 61. So you got a lot in the 60s. I would definitely look at getting rid of one of those 60 Mons, and obviously the worst one here is probably Chestnut. That's who I would probably go for, but like I said, I just don't like Chestnut personally. But that's what I'll maybe start with. I don't know how many points he was, and then you either get you a really slow Mon, or get you a Mon that has Wish support, or can help with your speed. Which, I mean, like I said, Archeops can be Tailwind, and then obviously Gyarados can be Sticky Webs. Those are also your last two picks, right? So you don't want your quote unquote worst Pokemon to be the Pokemon you're relying on a lot, right? Now I don't know, does I don't think Savali gets Tailwind. If he does, then I'm wrong, but I don't think it does, and I don't think Empoleon does either. But other than that, really solid team. I think your first 5, 6, your 7 picks are very good. I think you did great with that. I mean, just getting rid of these last 3. Your score only went down 13 points. So, like, you know, you really hit it on the nose with those. And I think if you can go for just any I think Rotom-Mow is available. I don't know if you have the points for that. Rotom-Mow would be solid. They don't give you a Volt Switch, but like I said, Wish support's a big thing here. But just these 7 Mons is a very strong core. So if you can just get things that combat these weaknesses, like with these 7, you have only 1 weakness to Ice, 3 weaknesses to Fighting. So obviously a Ghost type would be great. Obviously Savali doesn't matter for that because you can switch to the typing. So really, with this 7, like I said, with this core of 7, you're really good. And look at your speed tiers. You are on the 51 to 70s over here, but with bulky Mons, it's not the biggest issue in the world. So yeah, overall, like I said, B. But I think you have a lot of potential to get better. I think it has a lot of potential to get better. I think you still have all 4 of your free agents. So definitely look at acquiring slower Mons, Pokemon that can operate in a Trick Room, and then some form of Wish support. And then you can keep Ariados because it does check off some good boxes for you. I mean, if you want to keep Ariados, because it does have the 40 speed, which is good for your speed tiers. But that's completely up to you, man. Like I said, B. And it can honestly be an A or even an A+, because you have a lot of offensive potential with just these 3. And then you have really good defensive potential with Celesteela, Incineroar, Empoleon, and Savali, and even the special bulk for Alcremie. So definitely not a bad team at all. Yeah, nice job, man. Let me know if you want any help with who you might want to get, or if you need any more suggestions. And you know, we're here to make each other better. And I hope that you enjoyed the video. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you guys for watching.